Thank Hashem, we're able to learn every day. It's just about learning. We should have the basic English immediately. Today we're going to start Chaf Gimel Amid Bey's last two lines. Iboilo. Correct, right? That's where we left off. Iboilo. They have a question in the yeshiva. Pligi Rabban Aled Rablas Ben Yaakov Eloi. Pligi Kavas Hilchas Kavasei Eloi. In the Mishnah, we said that Rabbi Ben Yaakov added in that if someone wants his friend to eat by him, and he takes a vow that if you don't eat by me, then I'm never going to let you have benefits from it. If you don't come now, then that's it forever. Then it's all over. So if he takes a vow like that, so then he's just trying to encourage him to eat by him. It's not a real vow. He doesn't mean that. If he doesn't show up, he can still have benefits.
Is that the example where right before that vow, he says, my vows, they don't count?
No, in the Mishnah, we said that was a totally separate case. The Gemara explained the Mishnah, that's a separate case. Here, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov was adding in what we learned before, that there's a concept of nidrei zeruzim, where someone takes a vow just to encourage the other person. And the example that the Mishnah gave was people that were negotiating on the sale price. Said, I take a vow if I take any less than 4 coins. So they take a vow if I pay any more than 2 coins. So that was a nidrei zeruzim. They didn't really mean what they were saying, that they're going to make something forbidden if they end up paying more or taking less. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov adds in that the guy that's trying to get his friend to eat by him is also nidrei zeruzim. And now, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov added that in. The question is, what do the sages say to that? So do the sages argue and say that by the negotiating, that was considered nidrei zeruzim and you don't need to annul it? Nidrei zeruzim is the encouraging, trying to encourage someone to change what he's doing. So you take a vow. But it's not that he really meant to make it forbidden. So in such a case, you don't need to annul the vow with this, but you don't have to go to the 3 people or to the sage to get it annulled. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is adding in this one case. Do we accept Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov? First of all, do the sages accept Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov's view? They just didn't mention it. Or are they arguing? And second of all, do we paskin like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov? Well, the halacha is always like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. We have a statement of Mishnas Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Kavanaki. The halacha is always like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Kavanaki means it's a small amount, but it's pure. It means it's always like him.
Excuse me, where is he on?
There's actually 2 Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakovs. He's in the Mishnayos chart. And
He's a Tana?
Yeah.
Or Rabbi Akiva?
I think one of them was slightly before Rabbi Akiva, and one of them was a little bit after. And Aaron Hyman, Rabbi Aaron Hyman from the Toldos Tanaim of Amiraim, he claims that when we say Mishnah Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Kavanaki, it's referring to both. It's like a pun. That means both of them. The halacha is always like them. You see it?
He's a peer of Yochanan ben Zakkai.
Oh, really?
According to this chart. But there's an olive.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is, are we going to paskin like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov because that's the rule that we always paskin like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, or do we say that over here the logic is different like the sages? The sages have them. It's more logical to go like them. We don't even know if they're arguing, but if they are arguing, maybe for some reason we're not going to follow them. We're not going to follow Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Tashema. So come and listen. The Tanan, we have a Mishnah. Someone tells his friend, taking a vow that I won't have any benefit from you. If you don't take for your son if you don't accept from me, if you don't take for your son a measurement of wheat and 2 barrels of wine. So he's trying to convince him to take this gift for his son. And he says, and to convince him, he says that I'm never going to take anything from you if you don't take this now. So he can get out of this vow without going to the sage. What does he do? Because he can say to the person, who's the yachal, the person, the recipient of the gift can say, Kluma Marta ela b'shvil kvoidi. Why did you want me to take why did you want me to take that wine and wheat? Because you're trying to show me respect. You're trying to give me a gift. You're doing it for my good. Zehu kvoidi. So if you want to really give me honor, so now look at me. You're trying to give it to me, and I'm not even taking it. That's even more honorable. I'm showing that I don't even need you. You're showing that it would be nice to be able to give me some benefit. You would like that honor of supplying me with whatever wine and grain, and I'm not even taking it. So I'm even getting more honor. That was your intent, was to give me honor.
But wouldn't that not allow him to do the mitzvah? Like if he wants to give over for the mitzvah and he says no.
Yeah, but he's taking a vow that if you don't take from me, I'm never going to take anything from you. He's taking that vow, saying, yeah, if you don't take from me, I'm not going to take from you. Why is he trying to force me to take? He's trying to give me honor. So look, now I'm getting real honor. I'm not even taking it. And that's, not only did you I got the honor that you wanted to give me the gift. And I have an increase of honor that I didn't even accept it from you. I don't need you. There's even more honor. So that's what this Brisa says. Brisa or Mishnah. Samach Gimel Beis. Mishnah. The Mishnah. Okay. Now we have to analyze what just happened there. It goes like this. It says, Time Madamar Zehu Kvaidi. What's the reason why he can get out of this vow? Is because he says, look, you were trying to give me honor. You gave me honor. But if not for that reason, then what would have just happened here? Then it would have been Nederhu, and it would have been an actual vow. And what was he trying to do? He was trying to convince him to take something. Now, that we call Nidrei Zuzim, when you're just encouraging someone. He took a vow to encourage the other fellow to take a gift. So that's just Nidrei Zuzim. So why do we need to come into the logic and tell me that it's because he can tell him that, look, you gave me honor anyway, and I got even more honor by not taking it? He doesn't need all of that logic. It was just encouraging him to take, and those vows aren't vows.
That's kind of like getting into an argument, insisting to pay for that.
All right. The Gemara says, Mani, who is the author of this Mishnah? Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, if it's Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov. So we had the case of Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov where he says that he wants the guy to eat by him, and he says, if you don't eat by me, then you lost your chance. I'm never going to give you any benefit for the rest of your life. Take it, either come over now or forget it. Our relationship is over. So in Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov said that, don't worry about that. That's just Nidrei Zuzim. So if it's Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, so here again we have Nidrei Zuzim. Take this gift for your son, or else I'm never going to take anything from you. Ella, what's the bach over here? Ella lav Rabbanan. It must be the Rabbanan. Shma mina plik Rabbanan. Obviously, the Rabbanan argue on Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov. The Rabbanan hold that it's not Nidrei Zuzim when you're trying to encourage someone to take an invitation or to take food from you, and you have to get it annulled. Over here, he has a way out because he can say, I really gave you the honor. Whatever you wanted to give me, you've given me. You're trying to give me honor. I got it. So the Gemara says, okay, so that would answer our first question. is there a machlekes or Rabbanan and Rav Elazar ben Yaakov? Turns out there is, because we have another Mishnah that's very clear that the Rabbanan would say it's not Nidrei Zuzim. Where it says Lailam Rav Elazar ben Yaakov. No, it's wrong. Really, it is Rav Elazar ben Yaakov. This is Nidrei Zuzim. This is vows that are just encouraging, that don't need to be annulled at all. Maybe Rav Elazar ben Yaakov behind Nidra. Rav Elazar ben Yaakov would agree, Bahai, with this type of vow, the Nidra Havi, that this is actually a vow. It's not a Nidra Zuzim. Damalei, because the person can say, like Kalbana, the Misanena Mina, Balay Misanas Minai. Here he really means it. Why does he mean it over here more than over there? So let's give you the translation first. He says, I'm not a dog that I'm only going to take from you and you're not going to take from me. But what's the difference between this and that? Why is this Mishnah different than our Mishnah? So first of all, I guess the big difference would be, in our Mishnah, he told them like this. He said, if you don't come to my house, then I'm never going to give you anything. You're never going to have any benefit from it. So there was no exchange there. He says, if you don't take from me now, then I'm never going to give you anything more. He's taking a vow that he cannot have, that the person can't have any benefit from. So it's only going it's one direction. Over here, he's saying, if you don't take this from me, then I won't take anything from you. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you don't take this from me, I won't take anything from you. So this is going both ways. Maybe over here, could be Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov would agree that he wants the vow to be in place, because he doesn't want to just be a dog and only take and never give. So even Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov that said before that it was Nidrei Zuzim, you don't need to annul it, that's because it was all one directional. But over here, where it's going back and forth, it's reciprocal. So maybe he really means it. We don't have to say that the Rabbanan are arguing with Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. We could say that this itself is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov's opinion. One shot. It's another shot. Quran, okay.
Explains that this question indicates that the giver had benefit in the past from the receiver.
Very good.
And that's why he wants to give him such a large gift now.
Yeah. Other pshat is that over here, it's not that he's saying, I will take from you, I won't take from you. Over here, it has to do with, why is he giving him this gift right now? He must have already received something from him, and that's why he wants to give him this gift. And the idea over here is that it's because it's a large gift. It's not just coming to eat a meal with me. It's trying to give him a core of chitin, or chaviyas shel yayin. This is very large amounts. So it must be that he already received something. And that's why Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov would agree that this is a real vow, because he really needs to give back something in exchange for what he had already received.
It could be maybe like also like if a friend gives another friend a loan, and then when that friend is going to go pay him back, and he doesn't want to take the money, he's like, no, you don't have to pay me back. The friend could get upset and be like, listen, if you don't take my money, like I'm not going to ask you for help anymore. No?
Could be. Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah. Did that happen to you?
No,
You
but
explain that very vividly.
No, but it's I get, you know, because we don't trade
Right.
sheep and stuff like that. now.
Right. Barrels of wine. Okay. Why is this again? Go ahead.
So last night I heard it listening to a shir about this. It says this is the reason why in benching. Yes, bench the balabias. So you're not like a dog who takes and doesn't give anything.
Oh,
wow.
interesting.
But,
Do you
Maybe
say that
Josh.
part if you're just eating alone in your own house?
No, you say it only at a host.
Oh,
For
really?
some reason, it's not in the Chabad Siddur. Well, Harachim Yivariches, Avi. How do we say it? Harachim Yivariches. Balabayas is that? Do we say Avi?
I don't know. Avi, but we
Yivariches.
say
Balabayas is that? Imi Merasi Balasabayas. Right? We do say it.
we say it all the time.
We throw that together.
Yeah, I'll be Murray.
I suppose.
Yeah, we say I'll be Murray.
separate a balabayas. They have Rahman Shliyevish balabayas. They give him a nice blessing. It's, a nice blessing. I don't know why it wasn't put into.
It's just not separated in like extra paragraph.
Right.
Say that's all.
Right. In the other benches, what do we say? Yeah, after that. Keep going. Avimari. Balabayas is there. So we throw it together. Avimari and Balabayas is there. My father teacher. Hashem should bless my father.
Oh,
Hashem should bless my mother. But we say my father, the owner of this house. My mother, the Imi Mirasi, also my teacher.
Context.
But we don't divide that into Balabayas separate.
Anyway,
Okay.
the Gemara is focused so much on this because Eliezer ben Yaakov is always right. Is it because the halakha is always like him?
Yeah. That's a big deal here. And what's going to come out now is that if we alter the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov by saying that there's exceptions, that sometimes, even though the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, who says that when you invite a guest and you encourage him to come, you take a vow, that is considered nidrisism, but turns out it's not always, because in a case where the vow was reciprocal, if you don't do this for me, then I'm not going to do that for you, right? If you don't take this from me, then I'm not going to take from you, according to one pshat. Or if it was a large amount, according to the second pshat, then it could be that he was really serious. And even according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, we won't have the exception of this nidrei zuzim. We won't have the leniency of the nidrei zuzim. So the details that we extract from these cases are going to change the halacha, right? If the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Tashma, come and listen. Someone tells his friend, takes a vow, you can't have any benefit from me. If you don't give my son a core of chitim and shtecha v'shel yayin. Now it's going the other way. I'm never going to give you anything if you don't give me that candy. Sounds like the kids, right? I won't be your friend. So this looks again like it's reciprocal, no? If you don't give me this, I won't give you that. That's a stipulation, right? Well, Reb Meir Aimer, what's the base over here? Asr ad sheyitin. Until he gives, the vow takes effect. The vow takes effect until he gives the wheat and the wine. The person cannot benefit from it. They don't need to go to the chacham. They can get out of this without going to the chacham. They have a way out. What's the way out? The person can say, the one that took the vow, Harini kilo eskabalti. Make it as if like I received it. The guy didn't give him anything, but don't worry about it. It's like I received it and I returned it. So I have to take it and then give it back. It's good enough. It's as if I got it. Ran points out that this would only work if the children, which that we're talking about over here, has to give to the children, are living at the father's house. Otherwise, he can't say it's as if I received it. The children didn't receive anything. But if they live with the father, he says it's as if I received it. So then that would work. Time take a look what's going on. This is only if. When could he annul this vow without going to the three people or to the sage? This is because he says that he received it. But if not so, it would have been a nether. According to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, this is not a nether. Mani, who's the author of this? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov nidris zuzin havi. This is regular nidris zuzin. He's encouraging him to give something to his son, and he says, otherwise I'm going to take a vow. Elalav can't be Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, because here we're saying it is a vow. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov say it's not a vow. Must be the Rabbanan Upligi. Must be the rabbis, and the rabbis argue on Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Okay, it seems like we have an answer to the first question. Is there a machlekes here about trying to invite someone to your house and you take a vow if the person doesn't come? So it would come out now is that the Rabbanan argue on that. Okay. So the Gemara says, "Loi, it's not so. Loi lam Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Really, it is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Ma'id Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, not Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Ma'id Rabbi Elazar behind Nidra. Bahai, with this vow, the Nidra Havi, that it's a vow. Mishum Damalei, Lav Malkana, the Mahanina Lachvat Le Mahanasli. See here, he's taking the vow the other way. If you don't give my son, I'm not going to give you anything. If you don't give my son this and that, I'm not going to give you anything. You can't have any more benefits from me. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov maybe agrees to this, that this is a real vow. Because he says, look, I keep giving you. I'm not a king that I can just keep giving without end. I need to receive something in return. It's the opposite svara of before. I'm not a dog that I'm only going to take and you don't take anything from me here. I'm not a king that I'm only going to give and not receive. So maybe over here, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov would agree that this is a real vow and it needs to be annulled, without that way out of saying it's as if I received it. Make it as if I received it. Okay. Amalei Mark Shisha Breder of Chizdal Ravashi. We had Mark Shisha before. Rav Chisda has two sons, at least. He has more than two, I think. But we have a Mar Shisha and a Mar Yenuka, the Mr. Young and Mr. Old. And we had before, we mentioned the Mar Shisha, Mr. Old, may actually be younger than Mr. Young. Remember how we got to that? Because we said he was born when Rav Chisda was old. He got the name Mr. Old because his father was old. So he's actually very young. And Mar Yenuka, Mr. Young, got the name Young because his father was young when he was born, which means that now he's old. He's older. Mr. Young and Mr. Old. It's like they're walking down the street. It was.
Wouldn't be referring to like their level in Torah?
Oh, maybe, but I think the Gemara described it, or one of the commentators described it. They had that joke with the this store with McDonald and Horowitz at the store. Someone walks in, he says, sees a guy with a big beard, very Jewish look. So he says, "Oh, you must be Mr. Horowitz." He says, "No, I'm McDonald. You should see what Mr. Horowitz looks like." Okay. So Mark Shisha, son of Rav Chisda, says to Rav Ashi, Tashma, Nidri Einstein are vows that are, there's some circumstance that's beyond their control that they weren't able to fulfill it. Takes a vow if his friend doesn't eat by him. The only problem is that the guy couldn't come because his son got sick, or he got sick, or the river was too high. He wasn't able to get over it. Halav hachi. Okay, now that's a regular nidri einstein. But if not for that, if those situations did not occur, then that would have been a regular vow. Halav hachi nederhu. Now look at what the example was. He wanted his friend to eat by him. Otherwise, he's taking a vow. That's not just nidri einstein. That's nidri zruzin. He's encouraging him to come eat by him. That's exactly what Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov said is not a vow anyway. So why do you have to say it's because that stipulation couldn't have been fulfilled, and that's why it's not a vow? it's not a vow anyway. Mani, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, Zuzanavi. If it's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, it's not a vow anyway. Elalav Rabbanan Upligi. It must be it's the Rabbanan, and you see now clearly that they argue. The Rabbanan argue. When will this vow not be a vow? That's only if the circumstance was that he wasn't able to fulfill it by unforeseen things that took place. Right now, we think it's the Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan hold that Nidri Zuzim doesn't apply to inviting a guest. Nidri Zuzim would only apply to negotiating a deal. Gemara says no. Lo'ilam Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Really, it is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Misavris the Adre Mizamna Lizamina. Do you think over there the host was taking a vow to the guest? If the guest doesn't come, who initiated the vow over here? Was it the host that initiated it? Loi, that wasn't the case. The Zamina Adre Lemizamna. The guest initiated the vow to the host. Damalei, he says to him, can you invite me to your meal? Amalayin. This is the guest asking the host for an invitation. Yeshiva Bacher. Doesn't have where to eat. Shabbos. Can I come over? So the host says, yeah. Says, Neder ze alecha. Can you take a vow? It's getting tough. Take a vow.
For instance, a host invites you, but you really wanted to go to someone else's house, but you didn't want to ask yourself, and then they invite you afterwards. Not just good.
So, yeah, that's tough. Neder ze alecha. Did he take this vow of another? And he took a vow. So, who initiated the vow here? The guest was the one that wanted this. And then you see over here, it wasn't a Nidre Zuzim that he was encouraging him to come over and saying, if you don't come over, this is the exact opposite case where he's asking for a meal and he's asking him to take the vow. It's not a Zeruzim. Zeruzim was when I'm trying to do you good and I'm just like pushing you to do it. This would be, I'll go under the category of Nidre Einstein. See the next case. Toshima, come listen. Yes, sir. Okay, Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Yeah. Ranan adds in the explanation for what's the yes, sir. Okay, let's first read what happened there. If someone tells his friend, I won't take anything from you. If you don't come over. Okay. This looks very much like that reciprocal one that we had before. If you don't take this, then I won't take from you if you don't take from me. Well, he says, I won't take from you if you don't come over. Another person doesn't want. Gets angry. Okay, now the Ran adds in. That I'm thinking we had two pshatim before when he says I'm not a dog, that I'm only going to take from you and not give. Now it's coming up again where he's saying, I need you to take from me, otherwise I'm not taking from you. So apparently that's not a real logic, because according to the first pshat, because look at what's happening here. Really, I could have used that svara again. What's happening? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is saying that this is Nidre Zeruzim. This is considered a vow of encouragement, and it's not a real vow. He doesn't need to get it annulled. He's telling him, I'm not going to take anything from you if you don't eat by me. And if you don't eat bread and drink with me tea and whatever. Now, we had a logic before that maybe Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov said that he really means it because he's not a dog. Now we're getting rid of that svara. We're saying that it's not true. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov says, even if you could use the logic of, I'm not a dog, that I'm only going to take and not give. Maybe over here he does one. Maybe it's a real vow. We're seeing here that it's not a real vow. And what we said before was just a teretz. It's just an answer, an excuse, like to get out of the question. But it wasn't, now we're seeing that it's not so. That's if we learn the first shot. Second shot that Hillel mentioned was that over there, it was a very large exchange. He must have given him a lot because he's giving him back a core of wheat and 2 barrels of wine. So then we would say that I'm not a dog, that I'm only going to take. But over here, it's just come over for a meal. It could be that the svara of I'm not a dog and I'm only going to take if you don't take and you don't take from me. So that could actually still play out in large gifts. But over here, because it's a small thing, it doesn't play out. Okay. Well, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says that this is Nidrei Zuzim. And the Chachamim don't agree to him. What does it mean that Chacham don't agree to him? Lav, Dafkilu, Bekamaisa. It must mean even with the earlier cases. Now, that's one long Mishnah where we had all of these cases. We see that the sages don't agree to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov regarding Nidrei Zuzim. That means they're arguing with Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, where when it comes to encouraging someone to come over to your house. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says that doesn't need to be annulled, and the Chachamim are obviously saying that it does. There's different gersayos here, which make it very complicated, but let's just leave it as the way it's printed. Shema Mina, the Pligi Rabbanan, obviously the Rabbanan are arguing. Shema Mina, okay. We see that they're arguing. My Havi Allah. Well, what's the halacha? They want to learn the question. Tashema. Damar Ravuna halacha Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Ravuna says halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. V'chein Amar Ravada Barava halacha Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Ravada Barava says halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Yeah. The only question is the reasons that we gave before of Lav Kalban, I'm not a dog, or I'm not a king, which we said were exceptions to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Are we accepting those exceptions as well? So the Ran in his first point, which he quotes the Ramban, he says that there's a difference between Lav Kalbana, before the Ramban. Says that there's a difference between Lav Kalbana and Lav Malkana. When it says I'm not a dog, that we retracted from that. When he says I'm not a king, that I can just keep giving, that he didn't retract from. But according to the other pshat, where we said that there was a difference between if it was a large gift or a smaller gift, then we wouldn't have retracted even from Lav Kalbana. Depends on the size of the gift. He says, and that's what the Ramban is saying. Okay, next Mishnah. Nidrei Havai. Havai is exaggeration. Someone makes an exaggeration. He says, Amar Kainam, taking a vow from something. If I didn't see on that road 600,000 people. He says he's saying a story. He's saying there were so many people there. There was Ka'ile Mitzrayim, like the people that came out of Egypt, which was 600,000 people, or maybe 3 million. Yeah, I don't know what he means. But he saw this huge amount. Now people exaggerate. So what he means is that just that it was a large amount. And the vow that he took, he says, I'll never, drink wine again if I didn't see 600,000 people over there at that on that street. So he doesn't have to keep the vow. Even though he didn't see 600,000 people, he only saw 100,000 people. But that's how people talk.
What does the Mishnah say about like making bets?
Yeah, it's
Just like I don't know, maybe there's something about
right.
intent.
There's a machlekes. There's two opinions.
Would that be, is it similar to the one clause that they're negotiating? Because in negotiation, one might kind of like lowball the other one. The other one might be asking for too much.
Yeah, so but they right, similar to that he didn't really mean that. It's the same idea that in his heart, that's not, he said words, but he doesn't mean exactly those words. Okay. Or space about, I don't see a snake, let's add in right now, the size of a beam in the olive. That snake was so large that it was like, now the Gemara is going to later say that it wasn't referring, the comparison here wasn't to the large part of it, it was possibly to the square of it, or to or some sort of crack in the beam, or that there was a crack in that snake that's similar to the nook, the notch in the whatever it is. But he says something like that, which is either an impossibility or it's a total exaggeration. So then the vow doesn't take effect. Tana, it's taught in a brisa. Yeah. So in order to get that piece of information, the first mission of the Perek said, Arba Nedarim Chachama. There's 4 vows. First one was Nidri Zruzim. The second one was Nidri Havai. The third one is Nidri Shkogas. And the fourth is Nidri Einsin. We happen to mention Nidri Einsin in passing, but now we're up to the second one. So that this is a continuation of the introduction. There was it was explaining what the introductory Mishnah listed. There's 4 vowels. We're up to the second one now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So the brisa adds in, it says Nidri Havai Mutarim, but Shvuas Havai are Asurim. If someone exaggerates in an oath, it's different than a vow. What would the case be? He says, I take a vow if I didn't see on this road something. Now, Midam Kamar, he didn't say anything. There's nothing that's forbidden. He didn't say, I'm not going to eat anything about this. He just said, if I did, by the vow, we said, if I didn't see this amount, then I'm not going to eat something. But over here, what's the comparison? The shvu, he just said, he's taking a vow, if I didn't see on this road. Midam kamar, midam means nothing. He didn't say anything. Amar Abaya, damar shvua sharisi, it's the opposite. He says, I vow that I did see. Okay. He vows that he did, not a vow. He takes an oath. He swears that he saw. Now maybe he's lying. So we say that, yeah, that would be a real lie. Amalei Rava, imkein lamali lameimar. Of course, that's a lie. Void, false oath. Void, dumi dinediktani. But the problem with that is, Rav is telling Abaya, is that you're not doing a proper comparison. The Brisa says that a neder doesn't work and a shvua does work. But when a neder would work, it would make something forbidden. In the shvua, he's not making anything forbidden. He just says, he swears that he saw that amount. So what becomes forbidden? There's no comparison there. Gemara says, Elam, Rava, rather, Rava explains, he says that the fruits of the world should be forbidden to me with the oath if I haven't seen on this road like the people, the amount of people that came out of Mitzrayim. Amalei Ravina Ravashi. Okay, so he worked out what the language should be. Amalei Ravina Ravashi, Vidilma Hai Gavra, maybe this person, Kina Deshim Shemani Chaza, he actually saw, notice in the oath, he didn't say, he said on this road, like the amount of people that came out of Mitzrayim. Now, what did he see? the assumption is that he saw people, the amount of people that came out of Mitzrayim. But he didn't say, I saw people, like the amount of people that came in. He said, I saw like the amount of people that came out of Mitzrayim. Now, what did he see? It's only referring to a number, but what was it? Dilma, Haigabra, Kina de Shimshmani, maybe he saw an ant hill. Is that what's called, an ant hill, right? A mound of ants. Ba'asiklu Shma Oile Mitzrayim, Mishapim Mishtaba. He's calling them, he made a name for these ants. He's calling them Oile Mitzrayim. He said, let's see how you can translate it. We're ending up with two. Okay, he's calling them Oile Mitzrayim because there's so many of them. So he nicknamed them Oile Mitzrayim. So he says, I saw Oile Mitzrayim. He just made up a new word and he made up a new name. And so what he's taking a vow, if we're not going to use proscribed definitions of words, we're just going to use his language. So he's going to be able to get away with whatever he says. He says, well, what I meant when I said Oile Mitzrayim was I saw the anthill that I call Oile Mitzrayim. Amalei, so who was saying this? Ravina says to Ravashi, Amalei ki mishtaba daita didan mishtaba. Whenever someone takes an oath, he always takes an oath based on our interpretation of what that word means, not on his own interpretation of what that word means. And we do not call that the anthill Oile Mitzrayim. A person doesn't swear on his own interpretation of what is of the words. But Tanya, we have a brisa. When they make him swear, they have to add in this phrase. Heavy Yodea, you should know. We're not making you swear on whatever conditions you have in your heart. You're swearing on what we're thinking. It's a very important little phrase that they add in there. Lafukemai, what are they coming to exclude? Lav lafuki dasiklu le askundri basiklu shmazuzi. Really, he paid him askundria like tokens or like chips that are used for games or something. So he gave him a bunch of let's say borrowed money. Now he has to swear or something that he returned them. So he says, I swear that I returned the 100 zuz. Now it turned out that he really turned them 100 checker pieces. So, I called, it's when they say you're a liar. So no, I called checker pieces zuzim. That's what we call them that's how so they make sure that does not happen by telling him that you're not swearing by your interpretation of the language, we are swearing by our interpretation of the language. And since we say that you have to swear by our interpretation of the language, then that means that if not, then he would actually be swearing on his interpretation. Gemara says, like, what really happened was there was a cane of Rava. It's a person, he owed his friend money. Comes to Rava. Rava says to the loiva, to the borrower. Rava says to the borrower, go pay back. Says, I paid you. Rava says, okay, swear. Azil, he goes, I see Kanya, he takes a cane. It was a hollow cane, so like a bamboo stick or something. He filled it up with coins. And he's leaning on it, Bazil, and going. He enters into the Bezdin. He tells to the lender, he says, hold this cane while I hold the Sefer Torah to make the oath. See what just happened? He handed him the money inside the cane while he's taking the oath. And now Vistaba de Pare. Now he swears that he paid him back. Kol ma dehavale biyadeh. Kol ma dehavale biyadeh. He swear that he paid everything that he owed him. Humalva Ragas. Now the lender was so infuriated by what this fellow just swore, so he got angry. And he smashed the cane. And all the coins fell out. The came out that he actually swore in truth. It was true what he had given it to him. Okay, let's leave it over here.
I was absolutely sure you would say you can hit with the king.
Probably very controversial.
What it teaches a person, yeah, it's like the Mishnah in Kalim
You gotta come back Sunday morning to find that
with the
out.
mercury. There's a Mishnah in Kalim with the scale where Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai taught that the scale, the balance scale, the thieves would fill it up with mercury, and when they would put the weight on it, it would all the mercury which is heavy would tilt to one
When
side,
you took it off, it would just.
and then so really it was really, and then they would have to keep it put the what would they do first? They would put the grain on.
Whatever they want to get.
What would happen is, because it would tilt, so it would, instead of filling them with the grain, it was really the mercury there. So
And also they would use.
they put the grain on first, so then they would charge him because the weight that had to go on the other side needed to be much more. So they would charge him by the weight.
Like the counter weight, sometimes it wasn't like the actual weight.
Thank you very much.
Okay.